Do you want to see the pink eye? Do you want to see it?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Go on. You look like me when I do makeup.
You look like you've been hacking for like 10 days straight.
Yeah, I look like I'm
Yeah.
really high and like I've been on the computer playing COD for hours,
Yeah.
days, weeks.
Yeah.
COD, I think that's what the kids play. I don't know. Not really with it.
Hello, and welcome to We Three Queers.
The podcast where we three queers talk about anything we want to.
Enjoy! Stay!
We three queers of London are fabulous and feeling ourselves so far. Talking about all things queer and fitting with the theme. And that's enough of that, I'll stop singing now.
Hello, welcome back to We Three Queers. We are three
Yes.
people and we are queer.
That's
And
correct.
we are here. What are we talking about this week, folks?
Yes.
This week we're talking about body yada 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 yada.
I went to dance and then I thought, no, I'm not doing that.
You sat back and went, this is not for me.
No. Which is the responsible thing to do for all parties involved.
I have been watching TikTok, so I know the dance. Don't worry. I could do it, but I just don't want to put you to shame. Don't worry. It's fine.
Is there a
Fair
TikTok
enough.
dance?
There's a viral trend on TikTok. You're so old, Leah. Get with the times. And it's buddy yada yada yada. It's just basically them doing the dance that they do in the music video. Not that interesting. Don't worry. Okay, right.
This is
do
the
we have a
warm-up
question?
chat today, everyone. I hope
Yeah.
you enjoy it.
Do we have a question, or shall we? Do you have a question, dear?
Or should we get into it? Or like a warm-up question?
I don't know. Asking, do we have a question?
I feel like we need to do. I feel like we need to do a little disclaimer here and let everyone know the state that JJ is in right now.
Yeah.
And let everyone know the state that Flicker's in right now. What's going on? Explain.
Yeah. I drank 2 bottles of prosecco last night and put makeup on my face, pink eyeshadow on my eyes, and it stained my eyes. And I'm a little bit hungover. I haven't drunk in like 3 weeks, so this is the first time of having a sip of alcohol, and I don't do things by half. And so I decided, not just 1 sip, I'll have 2 bottles. Thank you. So.
And that explains that.
That's why I look like why I do, yeah.
Yeah, that's why Flick looks like they're part of Anonymous and they've entered our chat room to throw slurs at us. But they're not going to do that today.
That's the Tory government. If you're a Tory, I will find you and I will punch you. No.
I will throw slurs at you.
But the other 2 look lovely. They look great. You should watch this on YouTube rather than listen. They look fantastic, and they've got sexy bodies.
Look how long this hair has got. It's so long.
It's gorge.
Very long hair. I'm having
Should
to
we do a bit?
You look like. Sorry, you go, Leah.
I was just going to say, should we do a little bit of an audio description of ourselves for, just for the podcast?
Yeah, that's
look like.
Yeah. Currently looks like Ellie Diamond when they were doing macho drag.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do. I that's a good description of my general dress, I think, outside of drag.
Yeah, macho drag.
What am I wearing today? I'm wearing a head bandana in a nice blue color. I'm not wearing any makeup. My face is partially shaved. I've got 2 little earrings on, little hoops, and I'm wearing a t-shirt that is the RVT t-shirt made by Tuck Shop, and it's in white, and I have a little necklace on, and behind me there's a big red balloon. I think that's all the notable things in my screen.
That balloon is, I hate it. It really puts me off. Every time I'm like, fuck. I'm a brown person with my hair, my like afro brushed out hair, shoulder length, quite big. I've got orange rimmed glasses on, a bandana because we are the bandana crew in black and white, a nose ring, a septum piercing, and a stripy top on.
I am a white hungover human. I have a black hoodie on with the hood up. I have circular glasses that are reflective, so I have a moustache that is well, I don't know what's happening with it right now. It's just happening. I have green nails and a pink cup which has coffee, which is currently giving me the will to live.
Well done.
That was
nice. So today we're talking about bodies. Yes.
Ooh.
Syra, would you like to start with a question? Do you have one?
I don't. I've got the questions that we spoke about. Shall I start with one of those?
Go on then. Let's
Go
do
on,
that.
then. Let me find where you posted them. What do you do to make yourself feel good about your body? I think that's a nice one to start with. Like, you start in a nice.
Let's start with positives. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel good about your bodies? I guess is a good one before that.
Yeah.
Yeah and no.
Yeah.
Very.
You start, Syro.
Oh god, this. I was really nervous. Not nervous. I was a different kind of excited about this chat because I don't know how I feel day to day about my body. It like changes so much. There's the overall is yes, like I love my body, I love what it does for me, but also I've just got contradicting thoughts about it all the time. For example, like in lockdown, actually, this is the most exercise I guess routinely I've ever done. But this is also the biggest I've ever been. I put on 3 stone in lockdown, which is like lockdown weight. But I only weighed myself at my brother's, and I was like, I'm happy being very open about this, but I'm 15 stone, which was like, immediately I was like, panic, fucking panic. But then I was like, where's that panic coming from? And it's really difficult to, I don't know, I think it's difficult to feel good about your body being strong and fit and also being big. Like on a BMI scale, I'm morbidly obese. Like that's what it says. So it's so you have these like, oh, I'm feeling the best about my body's strength. I'm feeling the best about my body's flexibility. Like I love my squishiness. I love my skin. And it's why it's so important to have, like, if you are doing exercise or have inspirational different kinds of bodies, where they're accommodating and giving access to you. So like me and Flick were talking about having yoga teachers when they say like, and you can, if you've got a belly, you can put your belly here when you're doing this move. It just changes your perception about your body so much, to going, I can't do this because I'm XYZ, to going, oh, I can do this. I have to make everything as accessible as I can for my body. That means not buying clothes that are 2 sizes too small, so I just feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's little ways we can punish ourselves as well when we have like a standard or a goal of what our body should look like. But overall, I do love my body.
Yeah.
I have to just make room. I have to make room for my body.
Yeah. It's interesting that the discourse around it is often always about how much you weigh, or like how, like what your weight is, your BMI, and it's like those things are invented.
Yeah.
Those things are not. They don't exist. Like, you know, animals don't go around being like, oh my god, I'm worrying about my BMI. we've invented that. It's not a real thing. It's like if you're healthy and you feel good, then you like that's fine. It doesn't really matter how much you weigh or what you look like necessarily. But I guess then it's the societal pressures around it all that make it difficult to accept, I guess. Yeah. In terms of my body, I've never, for me it's exactly the same as with everything else about myself, where it's like I've always felt all right about it, kind of fine, but not really thought that other people liked it very much. I've never had, I've been privileged enough to never really think about the whole problem with weight. I think that I've just been like, it's just never been an issue. I think that in terms of society, I have a very palatable, like, white body. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of skinny, like, it's fine looking. And I think, you know, there's a privilege that comes with that I recognize. So I don't feel like I have a whole lot to say on that topic. So I'm not going to take up loads of time talking about my body experience because I don't feel like I have a lot to say there. But if I want to feel good about my body, I take a sexy picture. Recently, anyway, that's what I've started doing recently, and it doesn't always work. So that's not me saying, dude, that's not advice. But it is something that I do sometimes. Or I'll wear something that I feel attractive in, and like go to Reese, my partner, or someone, and be like, "Oh, do I look good?" I don't know. It's like you know. That's what I do if I want to feel good about my body.
Yeah, I get that. When I want to feel sexy, good about my body, I go to your partner, Reese, and say, "Oh, do you think that this?"
Talking about.
Oh, there they are. Hiya.
Yeah. He's just
No,
making some.
yeah, I think. Oh God, I don't know what's wrong with my brain. Yes, I love my body at the moment, but even though I'm hungover and feel gross, I love my body right now. Tomorrow might be a different thing. I'm like, I've had a weird like relationship with my body in the sense of I've always thought I was bigger than I am, and now I'm the biggest have ever been, really. But I'm the most like comfortable with like I've stopped worrying about other people and like things, because thing is, people still found me sexy, people still had like relationships with me, had sex with me, are friends with me, even when I like worried about what they would think about my weight, if that makes sense. Like, it was never really like about me, it was about what other people would think about my body. And like, oh, like, and I'm in this weird like place where I'm not huge, I'm not like, but I'm not a skinny twink either. I'm like this middle sort of chub. um but I don't mind that now, because I've stopped worrying about what other people think of, like, I've stopped worrying about what I think other people are thinking about me.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it?
That's the
Yeah.
thing. And I mean, that's a daily like struggle, because obviously we live in a world where there is a certain like archetype of what is attractive and what isn't physically, and we necessarily don't fit that. So yeah, sometimes I hate my body, sometimes I feel gross, and sometimes I hate it, and then sometimes I love it. And I think that's like okay. But if you, for me anyway, is I feel like it's okay because I register the reasons why I don't like it and do like it in that moment, and let it pass. And as long as it's not about other people and it's about me, I have to keep bringing it. I always bring it back to me, but like it's my body and it's about me. So it's like, well, am I feeling this way because of other things, or am I feeling this way because of me? And what can we do to like make you feel better? And yeah, so it's a daily struggle.
It's like
Yeah.
when you punish your body for not being whatever you want it to be for such a long time. When you start getting into self-love and starting reflecting, it's like you have to earn your own trust back. You have to earn. I'm like still in the middle of earning my trust back, because there's a part of my brain that will go immediately to this is I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this used to be like this, and there's another side that's like we're not bringing that in, we're not bringing it into here. So I'm at a point where I'm like completely, I don't even want to know what the like people in a romantic sexual way think about my body, because I don't trust them in the slightest. I'm like,
Yeah.
let me get really comfortable with trusting myself before I
Yeah,
think about your opinion.
there's like there's been so many times that I've been like having sex and someone's been like, oh my god, you're so fit and everything, and in my mind I've been like, you're only saying that because like I'm inside you or you're inside me, like like, after this you won't think that, and that's that like going through my head while I'm having sex, and
Right.
now it's yeah, I know I am, and then I just write that D like so
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how I think we all kind of mentioned it, and it's a good something to sort of note in yourself and in your life, is that, you know, how you feel about your body and affirmation about your body should come from yourself and not from other people. And what I said, everything I said about how I make myself feel good about my body is about it coming from other people, to be honest. But like, I guess you can take a sexy picture and never show anyone it.
mhm.
And I have done that, you know. Or you don't even have to take a picture. You can like just look at your body in the mirror and like make the lighting nice if you want. You don't even have to take a picture. I've done that too, to be honest, thinking about it, and just been like, yeah, this is all right. I like this. But
I think there's
yeah, it's just important that not that all of the affirmation comes from other people.
yeah, there's I think Lizzo does it. And it's like talking to your body and thanking your body for like for what it gives you. Like it gives like your body gives you life, and you like survive and thrive because like you're alive. So you should like say thanks to it. And like she stands in the mirror and she like holds her belly and she's like, thank you, like I love you. And it sounds like a bit like wacky and a bit ooh, but actually if you do it and like you just stand there in front of the mirror and you like hold like your body parts and you say thank you, I love you. It's like the I suppose it's like the power stance, like, you know, when you before you go to an interview you're meant to stand in like a certain like power stance, and you feel, and actually does like change how you feel about your body by
Yeah.
being like, you know what, I love you, like you're there, I love you, this little move, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sinks in, doesn't it?
The Lizzo, like it's such a huge effect. Like when you see when Lizzo does the like shaking her thighs and her stuff, just standing shaking them like front on. It's a different kind of view of a fat body, because there's like body positivity in a way that's still adhering to a beauty standard. It's still like
Yeah.
fat ass. I'm not showing my belly. I'm. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, I love like big girls. You're beautiful, but in this way.
Yeah.
Like you rarely see someone's gut hang, and I do that. I hold my stomach and go thank you, or like I just shake my thighs in the mirror, and that's when I feel it's a conversation. It's like you're here, you're here, you're here. I love you, I love you, I love you, and it's a really important thing to do and difficult to do if you have body dysmorphia,
Mm.
Mm.
because it's like the. I was thinking this today. Like if I identified as a woman, I think I'd be a lot more confident and comfortable in my body as it is now, because where I'm bigger, or where my fat is it very much feels in a womanly way. So it's
Mm.
like, how do I love my fat and still feel like my gender identity. Like, how do I shift that? That's there's really delicate things in there that I don't know how to.
I suppose clothes help, don't they? Like they do with me. Like certainly personally, they help. Like it's an expression of how I feel on the inside, and it can mask up and like hide certain things when I'm feeling certain ways. But yeah, it is because it's interesting because like for me, like I love dancing around naked, so, like in the mirror and everything. We're seeing everything wiggle and jiggle. Like it's lovely for me, when I'm feeling like good. But yeah, I've never like because I've never had dysmorphia about my body, and like so it's interesting to think of it in that sort of viewpoint.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good moment maybe to lead into what do you feel about your body when you put on drag and when you get into drag? How does that change how you feel about your body? For me, drag is all about like showing my body off actually, and like just getting it all out and not being ashamed of any of it, and just being like, you know, like just like I know a lot of people when they put on drag, they put on loads of padding and they try and shape themselves and give themselves a certain contour, a certain look, that makes them feel more confident, and that's really wonderful. For me, it's more always been about taking things off, like removing the idea that you have to look a certain way in order to feel sexy. That's what it's been about for me. Like not just taking things off literally as in my clothes, and like metaphorically in terms of like removing any expectations of what sexiness is, because I look ridiculous when I'm carrot, like when I'm in my full carrot gear. I've got my like green bodysuit with like some like tulle coming off my shoulders. I'm wearing fucking like fingerless gloves. It's just weird. It's like why, but I think, but I find what surprised me is that people were finding me sexy or were saying, you know, you look hot, and it's like, yeah, you can just kind of, as long as you feel confident in what you're doing, and I'm showing off my body and I feel great, you know, for me, that's what it was about anyway. I don't know if that made sense. It was a bit of a ramble, but you get what I'm saying. But what do you think, Cyro, in terms of your body and your gender and drag? How does that all link?
It's really interesting you saying that about like you're like I just do it and people find it sexy, and I don't like that's the exact thing you don't realize until you're on that stage. And I bind my chest, but I don't pack. I don't wear anything that slims down my hips or like pushes my hips in. Really, my body is as like Leah. It's not too much of a difference in my head. And I just feel completely powerful. I'm not thinking about my body when I'm in drag, when I'm on stage. I'm not thinking negative things about my body. I'm feeling completely in control of it. Which can be addictive because you're like, I never feel like this about my body. I never feel this strong and here and present. And it's also a strange thing because I'm getting praised for looking more masculine as well. I'm getting like this, you look really sexy, and I'm like, oh, I don't look like that every day. So there is a little bit of, I guess, longing for that in me every day. Because like, I know I don't want to do that every day. It's too much work. But that isn't me every day. And I get sometimes when you get out of drag, for me, there's a little bit of like, I don't know if people don't like me as much now. Like this, it's like, do you know what I mean?
I think that's quite a common. I mean, we've spoken about it before as like when you're in drag, you're like this superstar, and like people want to talk to you, and I want to like take photos with you and watch you, and then when you're out of drag, it's like it's not that anymore. Like, and I think with me personally, it's like because the face has changed, it's almost like a mask. So like people won't recognize, but I mean now I've got a moustache, people kind of recognize, like I put it together, they're like, oh, you've got a moustache, you're Flig. But when I didn't have the moustache and the face was different, it was almost like a mask. So it was, even if I didn't necessarily like feel nice about my body, when I've got drag on, I've got the face on, I'm a different person. And that's why it is empowering. Drag is empowering. It gives you that confidence to, and I think because it's like almost a mask, and it's like like they won't recognize me out of drag or whatever. Like, but I mean, me personally, I pad, I corset, I like put like all of the shebang on. I love feeling curvy and like slim, and like I can't breathe because my corset's so tight. Like I personally love it. Like I don't know, it just makes me feel, but it's like it changes my body completely, and I think that's why like I enjoy it, because for me anyway, drag is like a complete change. It's like it's different to what Cyro's saying for me, and it's not, and it's not about masking my, I mean, well, it is about masking my body, but not in a like I'm ashamed of my body way. It's like I am being something different, and I want that to like be completely different. Although sometimes I don't pad, and like one of the most like freeing times I've had was when I did Gold Rush, big up Taylor Trash, and I wore this like wraparound dress, and then I like took it off, and I had my like full like belly, like chest, everything exposed, and I had this big giant like smiley face drawn on it with like googly eyes and everything. It was stupid. It was so stupid, but it was so fun. And it was like,
Great.
not in a, I mean, obviously in a normal setting, like I wouldn't be like taking my top off, but like obviously, but like I said, because I had the face, like I felt very empowered, and I felt very, and I watched videos of it afterwards. I was in like the taxi back, and I was like, I don't know, I was really like euphoric about my body, in the sense of like, wow, like seeing it from a different perspective and being like, wow, you are fit. And like, but it's interesting because obviously like as an audience member, they would have watched that and been like, wow, that performer's so confident, like, and everything. And
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
in reality, I was like, oh my god, I'm getting my body out. No. So it's
Yeah,
but
I had the same experience, actually, a very similar one, when I did the Simpsons night, and I was Lisa, and at the end, I took off the Lisa dress, and underneath I was wearing these yellow like nipple tassels and a yellow jockstrap, and that's it, nothing else. Um, which is very, like, I'd never been that naked on a stage before, but there was something about it that was very freeing, and it all went tits up when I did it as well. I took the dress off and I kicked it, and when I kicked it, I knocked over the microphone stand
I saw
with the
that.
mic in it, yeah. And as it fell, I'm naked, and I had to like lunge forward and catch it and stand it back up again. But I managed to catch it before it hit the floor. It was really impressive. And then I put it back in place and sung the final note of the song. It was like it was amazing. But I watched the video back, and I was like, well, even though that went tits up, it ended amazingly, and actually I look quite good. Like, even though I'm being very silly, I did something bad, my body looks great. I feel great. I was, there's something about, in drag in general, the atmosphere of the room and in general is made to empower the person that's on the stage, and that's what's important about it, isn't it? And
Yeah.
so I think, like, if you reveal from anything to anything, pretty much, people are going to make you feel empowered. So it's a great way of, I guess, doing it, and that's what's so addictive about it.
Although
Yeah.
saying that, I wouldn't necessarily do like like a full exposure of myself in certain audience settings. So with
That's
the
true.
breeders,
Yeah.
I necessarily
Yeah.
wouldn't, because I don't want to be like the butt of their joke again.
No.
Like, I already feel uncomfortable enough being like, but yeah, in certain settings, in queer spaces, in safe spaces, that it's so supportive that you could literally, do anything, and like everyone's like, yes, and it's so comforting. But yeah, some I would not.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, like that Lisa act at a corporate gig.
Could you imagine? You should though. I think
Yeah.
That
That's
would
what
be
Google-
funny.
that's what Google needs. Google needs that.
As if I get corporate gigs.
That would be
Do you
would be nice, wouldn't it?
When the breeders get touchy, do you ever, like, that's a conversation when you're doing a gig and you're exposing, like, do you ever get the breeders get touchy because they're interested in your tuck or they're interested in your bind? Like, that's where their focus is, like, what, because they're that's what pisses me off. They're so impressed, or like, wow, this is something I've never seen before, that they, I don't know, they get fascinated by the mechanics of it, and then you're like, you're breaking this empowered stage because you're here. And it doesn't really, and in more queerer settings, you have that empowerment and you have that support. But yeah, when you were talking about breeders, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a few times.
Yeah, people do get touchy, don't they? Let's
Yeah.
just clarify, breeders. Breeders are heterosexual cisgender people who breed to make children who populate the earth. Just so we know what they are. Just in case anyone doesn't know what a breeder is.
There you go.
But yeah, they do get I've had that a few times. Like you come off the stage, or you're walking through, you're just going through to the toilet or something usually, or going to get a drink, and someone accosts you because they think that like you need their fucking validation, and then like they want to like hug you, touch you, you know, and it's just
They want to, yeah. You're like a little plaything. Like they want to.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, and it's like, yeah, I am here to entertain you, and I'm getting paid for it, but also don't piss me off. Like, I'm not.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick, and also that you're so just basic in the sense of like, I could literally just put a wig on and no makeup, and you'd be like, oh my god, yes, queen, woo! I watch RuPaul's Drag Race. You're amazing. Do you tuck? And it's like, oh god, like, you're not getting any eyebrows today. Like that's my feeling for those. I love your breeders. No, I don't. No. Which brings us on to the question: what is an attractive body?
I don't know who's going first.
I don't know either.
Cyro, you go first. Go on.
See, I have a more defined idea of what I think about this. If I'm taking it away from myself, I'm like, what is an attractive body? All bodies are attractive bodies, but
I feel like there's a butt coming.
But and I like, I'm tempted to go like bodies that love themselves, but that's not necessarily
no, because those people in the gym, like in the mirror posing and like straining, that like I find that cringe. And you're confident, but anyway.
I genuinely don't have a type. Like, don't have a type of body. It's really difficult because I just don't have a type. So like, an attractive body to me is it's just a body. Any body. There's a desperation in this.
Someone date Cyro, please.
And like, it doesn't, like, there's, if I'm having sex with someone, whether they're a size 2 or a size 20, there's no change in what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking at all about what their body looks like. I'm just doing whatever feels good for them and whatever, you know. And it's really difficult to know that fact but not transfer that fact onto yourself. Like, this person that is doing whatever with you is not thinking they're disgusting. They're not thinking that because you're not thinking that, and that's never even gone through my mind with someone that I'm doing something with. I'm just like, but so like, there's almost something really empowering with having sexy times with loads of different people.
Yeah.
Like
All
you
different
feel
types of
really,
bodies.
especially group
Taste
sex.
the what is it, the spice of life.
Yeah.
Get those 12 herbs and spices.
Feels like a
KFC
real celebration.
sponsored. No, yeah, it's interesting what you say about like transferring that onto yourself, because that's the most difficult thing. Is that, like, people, like, we've said it before, like, confidence is sexy, like, and it is. It's but not arrogance. Confidence is sexy. Arrogance is bi. But yeah, but transferring that onto yourself, I think, for me, like, what is an attractive body? Yeah, correct. Every body is attractive. I still have to. I'm still in the process, and I think lots of people are, and I think it's a continual process to unlearn the, like, norms, like, of what, like, societal norms of what an attractive body is, because especially as queer people growing up, you don't fit into the societal norms in the slightest, to begin with, so you're struggling with that. And then when you do find your community and your place, then this, like, stereotype of a white muscular body is perpetuated constantly through every sort of media that you consume. So you found where you fit in, but then you don't fit in your, like, place, because you don't look like that. And it fucks you up. And it's also like, and then you have to try and unlearn, like, what is an attractive body through, like, accepting yourself and feeling attractive within yourself, and then also then finding those other bodies attractive, because it's the same as like, I suppose, internalized homophobia. And, like, you get a lot of like, I'm talking about like gay men essentially here. You get a lot of people being like almost heteronormative, do you know what I mean, in their relationships,
Yeah.
of like, there are certain roles that certain people, tops of the man and bottoms of the women, like, not true, like, but you have to unlearn all of this. And yeah, and that's a journey. So I I still find myself, when I'm, like, on Tinder or whatever, like, swiping, like, and that's it, and that's also a horrible app, because it's nothing about the person really,
Mm-mm.
on from the get-go. It's all about the physical. And so I find all bodies attractive, but I still need to, like, unlearn the sort of, that is attractive and that isn't, because, like, it's
Yeah.
been programmed in us from such a young age that it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, I suppose it's difficult. But I'm on that journey, and if you want to date me, then my socials are
Here we go. Here we go. No, I totally agree. I think you're right. It's about I mean, obviously, what is an attractive body? Attractiveness, sexiness is completely subjective.
yeah,
What one person finds attractive, another might not, and what society perpetuates as being what is the goal, um, is not what everyone's preference is. And then on top of that, having preferences in itself is kind of problematic, and you
mm,
need to make sure that when you have your preference or what your attractions are, that you're constantly, especially if you are a member of the gay community, and especially if you are a white member of the gay community, you need to be constantly questioning where that preference is coming from, and
yeah,
and deconstructing that and thinking about it. I've and this is only something I've started doing very recently, really. It's like when you're scrolling through Instagram or Twitter, um, and you see a picture of someone topless, they've just uploaded that. They've not thought about it. They don't think, they've just gone, oh, I feel good about my body here. But it's like, why am I going to like this? Would I like, you know, another picture of someone else
mm,
looking like this if they were doing it? And it's about just always questioning that all the time. But is it, like you say, an ongoing long process, and it's going to take a long time, I think, to unpick. I think
yeah,
it's
and
perpetuated, and for gays as well, the fact that we get all of our um, understanding of what gay relationships and sex is from either depictions of gays on telly, which have always been, for the most part, very attractive, cis, like presenting men in couples, in monogamous couples for the most part. And then, so we've got that in the media, and then we've got porn is the other thing, and that is just always just, you know, either little skinny twinky white boys or muscle gays, like, and jocks or whatever. So it's like we've had all these representations, and I've had that forced upon me, like you say, you know, or not forced upon me, but that's the way that I've consumed that media and learned that from like being a young teenager up until, you know, now for 10 years. It takes a long time to deconstruct that, as we start to realize where it comes from. Or go into XXL.
Or XXL. That's problematic. So, Syro, did you because we didn't actually explain what XXL was, but did you read that? So XXL, for anybody who doesn't know, was a nightclub in London, essentially just for like cis gay men to go and be topless and sweaty and dance around, but nobody that was like queer or like non-cis presenting would be allowed in. So like somebody got refused entry because they were wearing high heels, even though they were a muscle Mary and like fit exactly, but they were wearing heels, so they got refused entry. So then loads of drag artists like protested, and yeah, it's horrible. And also they have had in the past drag performers performing there, and all of these muscle Marys like will dance around to Ariana Grande and Lady Gaga and be like, "Yes, Queen, what we," or like while they're like in their little harness and sweaty and dancing in the club in the pop section, but yet be like disgusted at somebody wanting to wear high heels. Like, what is wrong
or
with you?
painted nails or something. Yeah, it's so fucked up. It's messed up.
And
The
did you
whole
say,
thing.
Carrot, that it's back? Because it closed down,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah, they closed down because of the pandemic, but there was a big uproar on Twitter on it like the day before yesterday, about, well, not big enough really, but about the fact that they're coming back. They're back in the summer. At all these queer venues that have closed down, all these queer nights that have ended, all these queer artists that have had to move out of London, and that is what has survived, and it's coming back.
Of
And
It's a
course it
cockroach.
has.
Cockroaches will survive anything.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it is, and it's coming back, and people will go, and it will sell out, and it will be hugely successful because people, unfortunately, in the gay community are very willing to overlook something if it benefits them. Still,
Yeah.
especially white gays who live with this privilege all the time, and they don't want to lose it, and they get very defensive of it. I've found whenever I've tried to criticize someone in any way, they can't take criticism a lot of the time. Interestingly, they're very willing to give it out to people, very willing to be very judgmental a lot of the time, but not willing to take it. They don't want they don't realize they have that privilege. It feels like. Tory gays, fuck off. If you
Tory
listen to
gays.
this podcast, stop.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Tory gays. XXL is like the closest that you would get to a West Hollywood circuit party, essentially.
Oh god.
It's all beige, all different shades of mayo.
Yeah.
It reminds me a
Um,
little bit of JY Late when we used. Do you remember we used to go like every? Like me and Flick went a lot.
I used to go every like once or twice or 3 times a week.
We went so much, and I used to. There was that uncomfortability of like, oh, I'm not meant to be here. This is very. There's like straight women, a couple, and there's gay white men.
Yeah.
Like, I am not meant to be here, and it's just, there's a bit of a I remember I got picked up once on he wouldn't put me down. It was really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It gives me like anxiety thinking about it, and I can like I went on Grindr for all of 2 minutes, and the text flicker was like, "No, it's terrifying. I'm not doing it." There's just these spaces like I looked up XXL and I was like, "Fuck me, I didn't even know this existed. Why does this exist? Of course it does." There's the same thing within the like lesbian community though, with like tops and bottoms and studs and femmes, and my idea of what I wanted my body to be pre coming out is completely different. Like, I want to be tall and muscular and adhering to a stereotype of like mask and mask is going to get like girls. It's still problematic. It's all problematic. And then being trans or being non-binary, the like drag kings, for instance, or the drag things that are celebrated or that are kind of seen as the best are the ones that are passing the most, or that are muscly or have a six-pack, or like, which is like good on them, like doing the fucking work to get this, a lot of work, but it just, I don't know, it keeps putting me in this place where I'm like, I really don't know where my body fits in being sexy.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone kind of has a place. I really, really don't have a place. Because if I was identifying as a woman, I could easily express femininity in a way where I'm like, I fucking own my body. But like, as a trans masc person, I'm like, I don't know.
You're still in that journey at the moment, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just difficult. In the gay community, like when you were talking about, there's so many rules and bars up already, like no fats, no femmes, no Asians, no blacks. How are you meant to preach loving yourself and loving all kinds of bodies when your like door policy is already showing that you don't?
Yeah.
That's why places like XXL should burn. Because like it perpetuates that it's that safe space for cis white gays to be bigoted and horrible, and they shouldn't be able to like feel comfortable in their bigotry.
It should be a hate crime, or like it should be seen, not a hate crime, but there's another word that's similar to that I've forgotten, but it should be that, you know, it shouldn't be allowed. It should be seen as you know, a hate crime. I can't think of another way of saying it, but
but that playing devil's avocado here, but what would like our response be to the people that like, well, so there's the bigots out there that are like, well, I have my preferences and everything, and like a lot of times when I've like brought them up on it, certain people are like, but you can't make me, like, why are you trying to force like me to like fats and femmes and all of this, and it. So what would our response be to that, of us forcing them to? Because it's all good and well saying like, oh, you should love every sort of body, but then people will have like their preferences and their bigotry, and they'll be like,
well, it's
wow, no, I don't
interesting.
want to.
It feeds in as well with the whole trans debate, where with like the LGB alliance, and it's where it's like, you know, as like gay trans men, how does that work? Where does that fit into it? And I think it's a fluid thing that is still not been fully defined yet, you know. I think it's really tough, and I think people just need to learn to. I'm not expecting someone who has spent like 10, 20 years like having a specific type to now suddenly not, you know, be okay to just like be attracted to everyone. It's going to take time, and I think it's just, as long as people are willing to have that open mind for now, you know, just to start off with, have that, open your mind and look, as well as looking inwards at where these preferences and attractions come from, and maybe then that will start to deconstruct it, and you can open your sphere a little bit more. And like, people just need to learn, like, the more people you're attracted to, the better your life is. It's not like,
Mhm.
you're not oppressed if you're attracted to more people. It's the opposite. You're freer. You're having more fun. So it's interesting how they're always like, oh, you're oppressing me by making me be, more open. And it's like, no, it's the opposite. You're oppressing yourself by forcing yourself to have these preferences all the time. It's like, look inwards, have some introspection, have some self-awareness. Where is this coming from? Open your mind, open your eyes. Wow. That was
Preferences
amazing.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
preferences are so dangerous. I think access to space that's discrimination. You're saying that space that, like, it's fucking ridiculous, because
Yeah,
race does play into it. Race always plays into it. It's my
absolutely.
preference. Fuck off! It's not your preference. It's racist bastard. But I'm not asking you to sleep with them. You don't have to sleep with someone that's not your preference, in quotation marks. But they have to be allowed in your space. If this is a queer space, everyone should be allowed in that space. That is fitting that. So if it's a gay male space, trans gay men should be in that space too. Then
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer. But then the preference thing is, and it's the kind of people that have those, like, spitting discussions, and they're so passionate about their preference, but they are silent when it comes to human rights being taken away.
yeah,
And it's like, well, there's your priorities.
yeah,
And it's damaging to the whole community, and it's damaging to them as well, because because the rest of the world is assuming that the whole gay community, the queer community, is superficial, and it's not. Like, that's not the roots. That's not our community. That's not where we began. Like, yes, there's a part of it that's toxic. But it's because we're trying to emulate you. We're trying to fit in with this heteronormative standard, and
yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what the answer is.
I think
that. Sorry, you
yeah.
go,
I was
Carrot.
just gonna say that what you say there relates back to the whole thing of how these people don't want to have their privilege taken away. They
That's
don't.
it. Yeah.
They have a lot of privilege. They don't want to realize that is the first thing, and they don't want to have to face up to it and have it taken away.
True.
Well, it brings on to the question of how can we support marginalised bodies,
Yeah,
because that means a lot of what is perpetuated in the media of, like, queer people and bodies and everything is not what it, like Sarah was saying, is not what it is at the root of it. But so me personally, I would say go to, like, queer spaces, not XXL, not G. Well, go to GOI is slightly getting better at times, but not really. But go to these safe spaces like the RVT, like these queer spaces where everybody is celebrated,
yeah,
and then you will feel better about yourself. But if you go to these certain places like XXL or onto certain people's Twitters and everything, you to seek this validation, then you're not going to get it. You're going to get the complete opposite. Follow marginalized bodies on their socials, celebrate them, and do the work to unlearn what you've, like, been taught by a heteronormative society.
yeah.
Oops, you're
Especially if you're a white person, with a, palatable body or way that you present. It's like you're the one that has to put in the work here. It's not going to just happen. You're not going to just have a revelation out of nowhere and it's going to change everything. It's going to take time and commitment. So I agree. That's the first step towards it, at least. Question everything you do. Question it right down to what tweets you like on Twitter. Like everything, all of it. I agree.
Siren?
You've made such amazing points. I'm like, I don't know what to add to that. Support sex workers of all body types. Like, it doesn't just have to. It can be sexy. It can be fun. Supporting all bodies.
Mm.
And just what you said, yeah, question everything you do, right from when you're about to say something to yourself that might be harsh or nasty. Go, why am I saying that? Would I say that to someone else? Changing your internal monologue and language is just as important as changing your external, because we can do all the positive things in the world, but if we're still saying the same things to ourselves, we're not changing our mindset.
Yeah.
But once it does start shifting, you feel so much freer. I promise, from someone that's done the complete opposite most of their life. It changes everything.
Diversify your porn.
Yes,
I was going to say this, absolutely.
yes.
And if you need any recommendations, then slide into my DMs and I will give you some Twitter accounts.
And if you want to diversify your sexual partners, you can slide into my DMs.
This is it. Anyone want a threesome with me and Cyro? The cards are on the table. Anyone? I mean, Carrot, you can join in, actually. Let's have an orgy.
Can I have it? Yeah. I'll join in.
We'll bring snacks. We'll bring snacks. It'll be great.
Talking of snacks.
Snack time. Snack time. Snack time. Snack time.
I'll go first. My snack.
Sorry, I just saw a video. I'm listening.
My snack today is the one and only Shakona
Ooh.
Good choice.
Very sexy. I think they perform at the strip club that we're going to go to for your birthday, Cyro.
Harpies.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, Harpies. Yeah.
I really want to go.
I cannot wait. I've never been. I can't wait to go. And fuck you, Jess Glynn. But yeah, I can't wait to to go. And I think Shakona works there, performs there. So Shakona Fire, Instagram handle SHAKONAFIRE. Shakona Fire. Black drag queen. They're very political in their performances. They're a resident at bar whatever. They're sexy as hell. They're a sex worker. They work at Harpies. They talk about that quite openly. About their experiences. Go follow them. Like, if you don't already, I'm sure you probably do if you're listening to this podcast. But yeah, they're very, very sexy.
I also happen to know they run a drag cabaret night for people of colour called What's Good.
Yeah.
And that has recently been turned into a podcast with them and Veronica Montenegro, which I haven't listened to, but I bet it's amazing. Sounds great.
Yeah, I have listened to it, and it is great. I can confirm.
We'll have to get them on here. We'll do a collab.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yes,
love to.
five people all in one Zoom call. That would be great.
I think it'll be funny.
5 drag performers who all want to talk.
Yeah,
that would be great. But yeah, go follow them and send them love and send them money. Because we're all out of work. So whose snack is next?
So my snack of the week is the one, the only Mama Mamba.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so amazing burlesque performer, go-go dancer, OnlyFans top 8%. Please go follow them now. Their handle is mama.mamba, so it's MAMA.MAMBA. I'm just trying to think of more things. They've got their link tree for their OnlyFans and everything on their Instagram. They are body positive. The most beautiful blue and pink hair at the moment. It's usually green, and they're coming out with different outfits all the time and collabs with people. So you're just going to get all the beautiful, slutty, gorgeous, body positive content you want. It's ridiculous. And she's the nicest person.
Yeah, and she has a fantastic arse.
Her arse is, I really want to know, she told me the measurements, like, she quotes it on her OnlyFans, it's like 50 something inches. It's just...
Wow.
Like, you're a
amazing.
goddess. You're a goddess that has been brought down for us.
Yeah,
Yes.
go worship her. Yeah.
Go worship her. Yes. Yeah, and she's got a wish list on Amazon. Check some items off there because she deserves it.
Love that. I love that.
I want to talk about a snack slightly different, who many queers will know, especially if you're on Twitter. Jason Reed.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Reed, who now Jason used to write for QX magazine, but QX magazine isn't really a thing anymore. But does the social media for the RVT, and their social media for the RVT is incredible. Firstly, and also just writes for lots of queer like magazine journalism platforms, and is just such an advocate for diversity and inclusion in drag and cabaret, and is such a fucking lefty, and their Twitter is like great, full of amazing hot takes and spilling the tea all of the time. So if you don't follow Jason Reed, their handle is pause for effect at Jason JASON Reed REID UK on all of the platforms, I believe. And yeah, he's just such an advocate for like, and uses his platform and his skills always to raise other people up and raise up other queer voices. So I think he just deserves a shout out for that. I think it's really awesome.
His top-notch memeage. I love it.
Yeah.
Commentary. You know, when you just find yourself liking pretty much every single tweet someone
Yeah.
tweets.
I don't even, if I see Jason Reed tweet, I don't even read the tweet. I like it, and then I read it. I read it after I've liked it. Like, I just know that I'm on board with that.
Oh, absolutely. Go follow those snacks, and also follow us on Instagram at We3Queers. Then follow me, most importantly, at Flick the Drag Queen on Instagram and TikTok, and Flick the Queen on Twitter. Although I don't really use Twitter for anything other than porn, really. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Shall I go next? Because Carrot's like, I don't want to do
Silence.
social medias.
I
You can follow
froze.
me at Cyro Drag Thing on Instagram, at Leah S. Kirby on my Twitter and personal one on Instagram. I am not on TikTok because we're too old for TikTok.
You're younger than me.
Especially you, Flick.
Flick.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, follow me on everything at Carrot Drag on all the platforms, and I might change that soon because I'm fed up with being Carrot Drag. It just seems really crap.
You should call yourself Mr. Drag.
Yeah, yeah, Mr. Drag. I meant like Carrot Queer or Carrot Camp Time. I don't know. Fucking hell.
No.
Not that. Anyway, I'm at Carrot Drag on everything. Just follow me. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to We3Queers. I've been Cyro.
I've been Carrot.
And I have been Flick.
Voice
That's
actor.
called range. Range.
Wow.
We three queers of London are fabulous and feeling ourselves so far. Talking about all things queer and fitting with the theme. And that's enough of that, I'll stop singing now.